You know what, Mr. Lawler? I've heard all these things you've been saying about me on television. You want to wrestle me? You want to wrestle me, Memphis style? All right, fine. I'm not afraid of you, Mr. Lawler, because let me tell you something. True, I only wrestle women, but I've wrestled women that are a lot bigger and stronger than you. Matter of fact, they're probably smarter than you because you don't have any brains. You're from Memphis, Tennessee. All you do is plow the fields and farm and the farm and is that how you talk with Memphis, Tennessee, Mr. Lawler? Boo. See, Mr. Lawler, you don't have any brains. I'm from Hollywood. I have the brains. That's how I win my matches. I say the bigger they come, the harder they fall. You might be twice as big as me, but I've wrestled women that are twice as big as me, and I've mopped the floor with them. And that's what I'm going to do with you, Mr. Lawler. You challenged me to a wrestling match. I think you bit off a little more than you can chew. I'm going to wipe the floor with you, Mr. Lawler.
I think this is fake.
You can't say that. I can say that.
Wrestling's not fake!
It's still real to me, damn it.
The unscripted, uncensored, loose cannon of commentary. This ain't WCW. This ain't Monday Night Raw. This ain't SmackDown. This ain't even WWE.
Do I have everybody's attention now?
The recognized symbol of excellence in sports entertainment.
You're listening to Marks on Commentary.
We'll just blame it on Andy, nothing else.
Yes. So, okay, so Bob, I just wanted to say it's really cool that the first time I actually talked to you over the phone is on a podcast. So I think this is a monumental occasion for everyone, I think, involved.
You need to get out more. That's your idea of monumental.
Oh, it's the little things of life, man. It's the little things of life.
Yeah, the older you get, believe me, the more the little things mean something.
Yeah.
Jason, I hope you recorded that.
I did.
All right. Should I just Well, I'm going to go right into it then. This is Marks on Commentary. I'm Eddie Brophy.
I'm Jason Smith.
Now, I also want to agree with Bob. This is the most monumental thing, more or less, that you're on a podcast, and you're very excited to be on Marks on Commentary.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, we'd like to welcome Curt, who's in charge of Andy's Army, and then we'd like to welcome Bob, Andy's friend. How are you guys doing tonight?
Great.
All right. Well, it seems as though all of us, the four of us collective, are here for a specific reason. But before we get into that, starting with Curt and then Bob, if you want to give us a little background on yourselves.
Well, let's see. What, in terms of Andy Kaufman or just in general?
In general, both Andy and in general.
Well, let's. When I was a little kid, my mom used to take me around to auditions and stuff, and so I was in the Blues Brothers when I was a little kid. I was an orphan, and I actually had lines, but they ended up on the editing room floor, and my lines were this: check it out, tonight only from Chicago, the Blues Brothers, Rhythm and Blues Review, one night only, fabulous Blues Brothers, and those were my lines. But they ended up getting cut out, and but the cool thing is, my name's in the credits, and that was a really awesome experience to be able to meet John Belushi, because he at that time I didn't know what improvisation was, and he was telling us about how he made the footprints on the $6 Million Man episode that had Bigfoot in it, which was great because that was my favorite episode ever. So to me, he was just a star in that, you know. But in terms of Andy Kaufman, I don't know exactly truly how I got into him. I read a couple of biographies about him and stuff, and I started seeing things that he faked his death, so that got me really interested. And so then I ended up making a song about him, and then I started contacting different friends of his who had email addresses, and that's how I came across Bob, the Cranky Media guy. And so I sent him that video, and so I've been collaborating with him ever since on various things.
Awesome.
Hello.
You're still here.
Yeah, I lost that.
I'm here.
I lost Curt there for a second.
Jason can edit that out later.
Okay.
I think that's a good segue to get right into Bob. I mean, Bob, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I grew up in New York City, and I was just an oddball kid, went to Catholic school, but there was a guy named Alan Abel, and he would turn up in the news about once a year or so doing something of a hoaxy nature. And I just thought that was amazing that you could make up a story and you could tell it with a straight face, and it would be covered by the press as if it was real. I mean, it blew my mind. And back in the early 60s, he was doing a thing called the Society for Indecency to Naked Animals with Buck Henry, that you might have heard of. He was in, he wrote The Graduate, the movie, and he's in the Catch-22 movie, and he did a lot of other things. He used to host Saturday Night Live periodically back in the 70s. You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, actually, you had me with The Graduate, so it's a personal favorite.
Okay, well, he and Alan were real good friends, and together they were the Society for Indecency to Naked Animals. So Alan was kind of a hero to me. I mean, I thought that was really cool that he could do these things, and I finally met him in the 70s, and he had a little office at 507 Fifth Avenue, which is Fifth Avenue and 42nd Street in New York City, and his office, this had literally been a broom closet. Before they rented it to him. I think he was paying like $25 a month or something to rent it and use it as a closet. I mean, as an office. And we got to talking, and he said, so what do you do? And I said, well, I work for the Yankees and the Mets in Madison Square Garden. I'm a security guard. And his eyes lit up, and he said, oh, you have a cop uniform? And I said, yeah. And he goes, do you know what Omar is? Omar was a thing he was doing at the time where he was supposedly a guy who used the pseudonym Omar, who taught people how to panhandle for a living.
Yes.
Okay, you know about that? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I became Omar's bodyguard, wearing my cop outfit. Okay, and we ended up there was a show on NBC called Real People. I don't know if you remember that. It was an early kind of reality television sort of thing from the late 70s, and I was on that with him, and then we just took off from there. So I've known him ever since then, and oh man, I just have a background in being able to generate publicity and come up with hoaxes, and so I've done a lot of stuff with Alan. I've done a lot of stuff on my own, and just made a lot of noise over the years. And then in '81, just through a bizarre set of circumstances, met Andy Kaufman and became his friend. And the day after I met Andy, I introduced him to Alan. I told Andy the night I met him, I said, I have this friend you have to meet. Because how could you know these two people and not want them to get together? You know what I mean? They had to meet. So I introduced them in Andy's room at the New York Hilton, and then they were friends from that point on. And it just life's just been real odd for me.
Well, I'd imagine if you're Andy Kaufman's friend, you'd have to roll the punches a little bit.
I said this last year. There was a guy who did an art exhibit about Andy at a gallery in New York, and they flew me in there actually twice because they did it in two different galleries to talk about Andy. They had different, Bob Zamuda was there, and Lynn Margulies, and all these different people, and Andy's brother, who I got to meet then, and then Alan knew I was going to be there, so he showed up, so he ended up being part of this thing too. And I said, I've known two people in my life. Excuse me, I have phlegm in my throat. I'm getting over a cold. I said, two people in my life I'd known who had a vortex. You know what I mean? If you were with them, things were going to happen, and you just had to be on your toes and ready to go with it. And I said, one of them was Andy, and the other is this guy sitting next to me, Alan. I mean, they had to meet. It just, and so it's really true. I mean, if if you ever with either of them, stuff was going to happen. You didn't know what it was going to be. It was going to be interesting. Just be ready. Great. Yeah.
Now, so. I want to talk about Andy a little bit, because the reason why you guys are obviously here and the reason why we're doing this is we're really trying to get Andy in the Hall of Fame this year.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a little ticked that they didn't announce it on Raw on Monday, because they were in Memphis, where he did his stuff with Jerry Lawler, and of course Jerry Lawler's a part of Raw. That would have been the perfect night.
I was actually discussing that with Jason, because Jason and I both had that moment where Jerry was in the ring, and it was do the Raw active thing. You pick the match that Sheamus and Christian were going to be in. And I swore for like a second, I was like, this has got to be Andy going in, because what better place than Memphis, and who better than Jerry Lawler?
Yeah, that would have been absolutely perfect. It's to say it right then and there, So they kind of blew that opportunity if they're planning on doing it at all this year.
Now, Curt, I want to ask you, in terms of Andy Kaufman going to the Hall of Fame, and I'm sure given the fact that you've reached out to people that know Andy, as you said, through email addresses and stuff, I mean, what's your number one reason why, in your mind, Andy deserves more than anyone, not necessarily in the celebrity wing, but just overall in the WWE Hall of Fame? Why Andy?
Well, first of all, he brought a lot of attention to wrestling as we know it, and Jerry Lawler has stated that he wouldn't be where he is today if it wasn't for Andy Kaufman, and it was just great that Kaufman brought the whole philosophy of extending the stage out into the audience and having the audience participate in what was going on without them even realizing it was just such a natural fit for wrestling. And those people had no idea just exactly how well they were participating in his plan, to get them all riled up. So for that right there, but also I just noticed that, like, with the way that things are moving along, with kind of Andy Kaufman out there in the consciousness recently, with the lady coming forward pretending she was his daughter, and this is the 30-year anniversary of when he went missing, so to speak. So I think it's phenomenal that this would be the most ideal year for something like this. It just seems perfect to ride on the momentum that's already being handed to us with Andy Kaufman out there in the news already. To be able to keep riding that momentum is just
I agree 100% on that
I think
one.
that
I absolutely agree with
just
that.
awesome. And
A good time for Andy Kaufman to go in the Hall of Fame. Why not when he's already in the press?
Yeah.
And I don't know if we lost our guests again. No, well, Kurt's coming back. Well, as Kurt's rejoining us, Bob, in your opinion.
Oh, before I forget, okay, the girl who pretended to be Andy's daughter worked at that art gallery that I was at last year. As it turned out, when I saw the picture, I said, "Wait a minute, I know her." She seemed very quiet and very nice and kind of shy, but she was really, really interested in the whole concept of hoaxing and stuff. Because the way this thing was set up was a giant gallery room, and they had all Andy's different artifacts in these, what they call vitrines, and there was a table towards the back of the room, a literal round table where I would sit, or whoever the person, talking about Andy that was there that day would sit at, and people would just come in and they could just sit down and talk to us and ask us stuff. And so I was telling all these various stories about him and about hoaxing. And she and one of the other people that worked there, they sat there for like a couple of hours just listening to me talk. I kept saying, "Are you guys bored with this yet?" And they're like, "No, no, no." So that's the connection that I have, which is kind of vague to her. But I guess that's where she got the idea to pretend to be his daughter.
Now, we do have Kurt back now, I believe.
Okay.
oh, hey, I'm back. So
Yay, Kurt.
Bob, you actually met that girl, huh?
Yeah, the girl from the the girl from the gallery. I sure did. I was just talking about that. Yep.
That's crazy.
That's pretty crazy that you had actually met her. Were you there to watch her talk with Michael about her showing up?
No, Michael was there the first day I was there, and then the second day it was just me by myself. And they must have hooked up there at some point and came up with this idea to do it, but because it was months and months later before they did the thing where she said she was the daughter, the missing daughter.
And I was just, when I first saw that, I thought for sure that was a plan that was hatched with you and Alan Abel. I thought for sure you guys were behind that. It just seemed like you guys would have helped put that together.
No, nobody said a word about it to us when we were at either of the galleries or anything, and that was the last contact I had with any of those people, was at the second gallery, which was February of last year. And then months later, all of a sudden, because that was the Andy Kaufman Comedy Awards, right, where she made that announcement?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
New York.
Right. Yep.
I have to ask you guys, as obviously, Bob, you still, are conscious of the product, and Kurt being a wrestling fan. Now, what do you guys think of the whole CM Punk angle? I mean, there's a part of me that wants to believe there's a bit of an Andy Kaufman spirit in that. In the total radio silence, we don't know what he's doing. We don't know where he's going to pop up. Is he done? Is he still with the company? Do either of you have thoughts on that?
Well,
yeah. Go ahead, Kurt.
Well, I was going to say, from listening to you guys talk about this and go back and forth, it's
Speaking of silence.
Well, hearing you guys talk about this on your past podcast. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can.
Oh.
That seems to be the thing. We say we can hear him, and he disappears again.
All right. While he's gone, I actually want to ask Bob, of all like the alleged sightings and stuff like that, all these photos and video clips, do any of them from somebody who's known him? and has seen him in person, do any of them, in your estimations, have any legitimacy to them?
I wish. I really wish, but I don't think so.
Okay.
I want so much for it to be true. You know what I mean? It would be so perfect. And he had an interest in faking his death, which I knew when I knew him. And that's one of the reasons that he was interested in meeting Alan, because Alan had done that. Alan had gotten his obituary in the New York Times about a year before I introduced the two of them. And I told, Andy that. He said, oh, yeah. Bring this guy over to my hotel room. So we did, they hooked up there, and he asked Alan loads of questions about how he did it, and how did he pull it off, and what did people think, and so forth. So he definitely was into that stuff, into that concept.
Now, all right, we could jump back to the CM Punk stuff now if you want.
Okay. Punk. I watch Raw every week, and I watch SmackDown every week. Punk just vanished. And they didn't say a word about it. And I didn't even note it at first for a couple of weeks that he wasn't around. And all of a sudden I started reading things like, where's Punk? And what's going on? And I went, oh yeah, where the hell is he? And if it's a put on, which I assume it is, if it's kayfabe stuff, they're doing it the right way. They're just keeping their mouths shut. You know what I mean? Because WWE has a tendency to beat you over the head with things. You know what I mean? All of a sudden there's 47 produced bits about the mystery of the missing CM Punk. And then anybody with any brains just goes, okay, this is a gag. This is clearly not real. Yeah. So for one, if it's a setup thing, they're doing it right. They're keeping their mouth shut. And I assume it pays off with him showing up at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Kurt, that would be the logic.
Did we just lost Kurt again?
Well, and Kurt's in the populated area too. It's I'm the one that lives out in next to the cow farts over here.
Meanwhile, Kurt's the one using the tin can Skype phone.
Right. I don't know what. Yeah, it's weird. He should have a decent connection there.
Well, Bob, going with what you said, though, it's funny because I feel like if he does show up at WrestleMania, it's really playing with our emotions. Because I know I was speaking on even Jason's behalf at the Chicago Raw. I was ready to throw my laptop across the room because I just kept thinking, why is he not here? Why did he betray us? And even on Twitter, about him and Austin having a match at WrestleMania, and the match would be who could bail on their fans faster. That's I think what would make WWE brilliant in story-wise now, because it's been kind of stagnant for a while. If a lot of people don't.
God, has it? Ugh.
If Punk shows up at Mania and it almost laughs in my face and says, "You were going to throw your laptop across the room, you asshole, because you still believe in it. It's still real to you."
It's still real to me, damn it. That's right. So I guess the word marks on commentary is accurate here, is what you're saying?
Yeah, well, we've been also nicknamed skid marks on commentary and judging. I think by our ability to lose so much, Kurt, you're like the prodigal son of podcasting tonight. I feel like it's very appropriate in this case, and of course I say that, and then Kurt disappears again. I think Jason, we should do a tribute show to Kurt after this. It'll be a dual tribute, a tribute to Andy and a tribute to Kurt.
I am back. I don't know what keeps happening here, you guys. Just don't mind me. I will come in and I will say things when it's working, and I will just listen when it's not. Oh, gosh, man, I don't know what's happening here.
It's a bit of Mark's roulette tonight because you come back and then we lose Bob.
That's so bizarre. Well, you know what? It's very Kaufman-esque, so it totally makes sense,
It's very like People's Choice Award.
Oh, I'm so happy it's happening.
Bob's got brilliant stories, but Kurt's got this Andy Kaufman-esque disappearance trick that.
Yeah. Talk about CM Punk disappearing. I'm just keeping in line with that spirit, I suppose. Oh my God!
It's like a gag order or something with Titan Towers. The second we say CM Punk, he's gone.
He's gone.
Unreal, Kurt.
Oh,
well,
man.
I feel bad that you keep cutting out.
So, geez,
Bob,
okay, so this whole time I've heard you guys talk about CM Punk and wondering about this, I was just thinking, because Bob, I recently on a podcast you're on, you're talking about how things have kind of been ruined a little bit in terms of the kayfabe aspect.
Oh God, it breaks my heart, man. From the point of view of the business, it made it easier, I think, for people to perceive it as entertainment and not some kind of weird marginal, nonsense that, retards go to. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because now, now wrestlers can do movies and, they're perceived in the greater entertainment world,
Mm-hmm.
But it just breaks my heart. I know if Andy was alive, it would just kill him, because that's what he loved. You know what I mean? He loved the put on aspect of the thing. That was what attracted him to it. And I was a wrestling manager in the 80s, and man, if you back in those days, if you had told somebody who wasn't in the business how it all worked, not only would you not have worked in the business, these guys would never have spoken to you again. My wrestler friends, I just would have been cut out of their lives. You just didn't do that.
So maybe something that I'm thinking about here is maybe with this whole CM Punk, these shenanigans that are happening, maybe they are utilizing this to turn it over, for it to become something, to get back to that spirit. Maybe it is. Maybe that's what it's all about.
I hope so. Man.
As a mark with an opinion, I'm thinking this is building to a bigger thing. CM Punk comes back as the foreign man.
Yes! Yes!
Thank you very much.
Yes!
And, Punk can cut an excellent promo. We've lost Curt, but we've gained Bob. Once again, Podcast Roulette has chosen its victor.
At least we're not placed with the phallic symbol that pops up.
It works, but again, going back with Raw, and Jason, you're recording this, yes?
We are recording. We are back to recording.
Going back to, being in the business, Bob, and knowing Andy, I mean, you obviously have your own thoughts on this, and you've shared some of them, but if you were currently in the wrestling industry and you were a booker, what would you do differently to kind of pull the WWE out of this, really perpetual stagnancy that it's in?
Fire the damn writers and put Heyman in charge of it. Man, Heyman knows what the hell he's doing. I knew him in the 80s. He was working as a freelance photographer for Bill Apter. Yeah. And he used to show up at the shows we did and take pictures and stuff. And it was several years later, I was living in Virginia and I was tuning around the TV. And one night I see this wrestling show. I didn't know what the hell it was. I didn't recognize it. And it was ECW. And I didn't know that Heyman had any connection to that. And after a couple of weeks, they finally mentioned him. And I went, oh, wait a minute. He runs this thing? Oh, damn. That's the guy I knew from, taking pictures. He's like a ring rat running around with a camera. But I mean, that's the guy, man. If anytime he's on, I'm excited when he shows up.
Now, for Curt joining us again,
I have joined you, and welcome to Andy's Army Podcast. This is the first episode with your hosts, Pegany and Curt Clendenin. Hello, you guys. Welcome, Marks and Podcast, to our podcast. Thank you for joining the show.
It's essentially we're reworking the WCW ECW invasion storyline into the commentary.
There you go. There you go. See, it truly is a vortex, aka fractal, aka Matrix, so on and so forth. Let's consider this the remake of Matrix 3.
Yeah, and this is my Vince McMahon part where Jason discusses how he joined forces with Andy's army.
Oh, very good. I like this.
And subsequently, I'm now going to battle with my own co-host.
This is great. It's great. And then at some point, one of you guys throws the powder in the other's faces, and you found out that you were in cahoots. Oh, wait, hold on. Oh, wait, hold on. You would throw the powder in one of our faces, and then you guys were in cahoots all along. That's what it turns out.
Here it is. It turns out we bought Marks on Commentary out from under you. Okay,
yes.
It's one of those deals. It's it's like Shane McMahon buying WCW. It's like the thing with Dixie Carter and TNA. We bought it and you didn't realize, and then we get to go, you're fired.
Now, Bob,
yes.
I want to share you some Marks trivia here. We don't speak those words on Marks on Commentary. We went to a TNA event. It was a glorified gymnasium, and half of it was blacked off.
I noticed that. I've noticed that on the shows. Yeah.
Now, Jason, and you can agree with me, if I took a head count, well, there were about 100 of us in the Aganis Arena.
Yeah, we were like, wow, we've got floor seats. This is awesome. And then it's we were the floor seats.
Was it a house show or was it a taping?
It was Slammiversary.
Oh my God! Ooh, that's not good.
Bad.
Oh man!
The smartest kid in the resource class that day.
Jesus.
And of course, playing by like WWE logic, you would naturally go to the bathroom or get another beer during the Divas match. It turned out that was the match of the night and one we should have sat our asses down to go and watch.
Those women are good, man. You know who was the trainer for them? Zeb Coulter.
Oh, okay.
For Dutch Mantel.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, now hold on a second. AKA Dutch something or other?
Dutch Mantel.
Uncle Zeb?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
As soon as I talked, I got cut out of here. I don't even know if you guys can hear me right
Yeah, we
now.
got
But I'm continuing on the. Oh. Now hold on. Zeb Coulter was Dutch. What was his other name? Dutch something?
Mantel. Mantel.
Dude,
That's what he worked
Uncle Zebekiah at one point too with Bradshaw.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
when he first got started in WWE, Bradshaw.
Okay, well, just before this recent coming back to Vince, he was working for Dixie Carter, and he was training the women.
Hello? You guys just cut out. I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you.
Hello?
I hear you.
Kurt, you're
Hello?
bringing the bad juju to the show. I don't know what.
Zeb. Of course, Bob mentioned Zeb. Here's why.
Is this the part where
I just recently.
where he can't hear us, but he talks bad about us?
Oh, I can hear you guys. Wait, hold on. Are you talking about me or someone else?
This is the equivalent where we're at a comedy show. And
That's right. I could be.
This is us at a comedy show heckling the open micer, and we realize that it's not television. He can actually hear us.
Right. Yes. Well, it is funny because I have been running Andy's Army podcast episode number 1, which will be the same title as this podcast. So what did we agree on earlier? What was going to be the name of this podcast?
Jason,
It's still real to me, damn it.
It's still real to me, damn it. Yes, that'll be also the first title. That'll be perfect. People will be able to see because I have been talking every time I cut out and you guys can't hear me anymore. I've been talking, so it's been crazy.
He's gone rogue on us, damn it.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I wanted to say something real quick about Zeb. You brought up Zeb, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now this is of course. Now, Bob, I cannot tell you, man, how many things that just quote coincidentally unquote happened to you. You're a true like magician. You're like a magi. If we were playing Dungeons and Dragons, you'd be a magi. And the way that you yourself are a vortex, man. I don't know if you understand this, but like things that happen to you completely. I feel sometimes maybe you're unaware of just the true magic that's happening right there because so many times it parallels what's going on with what I'm experiencing. And what I have to say is this, Zeb particularly. I just finished listening to a Steve Austin podcast, and he had Zeb on there, who actually taught him everything he knows, apparently.
Wow, okay.
And he said, so Zeb actually talked about Andy Kaufman in the last little bit of that
Really?
with Steve
wow.
Austin. So, of course, this is the only way I know who that man is because I just listened to that. And now all of a sudden you bring up Zeb. Of course, to me it's just like, yes, of course that's going to happen. And it's just phenomenal because I'm going to use that little piece. I'm making I don't know if you saw the latest picture I did of as if Andy Kaufman already won the WWE Hall of Fame inductee award. Did you see that picture?
Yeah. Yep.
So I'm pretending that's the time machine photo, right? Like someone in the future, like it's already taken a picture of. There's everybody. So that's the time machine photo. Now what I'm doing is I'm putting together all of interviews, anyone who's ever endorsed Andy's Army or the ridiculously long hashtag AK4WWEHOF 2014, which in itself is very Kaufman-esque if you really look at the levels of it because so many people are hashtagging things these days. And I thought, this is perfect. It says everything and it's really, really long. And I want to see who sticks it out and who doesn't. And it's beautiful to see who's willing to play along because I know how ridiculously long it is. And that's the whole point. But I probably shouldn't have just given away that kayfabe aspect of the whole thing. But yeah, it's just such a ridiculously long hashtag. But it says everything you need to know in it. So I'm making one of those trailers, one of those videos right now. I'm taking anything that anybody's ever said, anyone's ever.
And he gave away.
And he's gone. The gods are angry.
The Andy is angry. Why, Kurt? Why must you break kayfabe? Time.
That's right. That's right. That's what you get, man. That's what would happen in the 80s. They would have thrown you under the bus.
I can't believe it.
Got yanked out from under him.
You know what? you did the best, Vince McMahon. You're fired. Can you give us another? You're fired.
You're fired.
Curt, I'm sorry, man. He's bringing the bad juju tonight. I don't know what it is.
I don't know what it is.
I don't know what he did. He's just ruining the business of wrestling. But I do. The obvious candidate to induct Andy would probably be Jerry Lawler, obviously.
Right.
I still think there's the possibility that we could get one of Andy's alter egos to induct him.
The thing is that...
Yeah, Zamuda has already dropped a hint about that. He'd like to do it.
Yes. And did you hear that podcast? Did you hear that podcast?
No.
We talked about that.
No. Did you have Zamuda on?
Well, he talked about last year. He talked about in the podcast with this guy Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan also interviewed Lynn Margulies, and I'm taking a little piece of her audio, a little piece of Ruby Tuesday, a whole bunch of people. The Apter interview, Zamuda interview, and Zamuda said he's been talking with Jerry Lawler. This was really cool to hear this because it fits in perfect. He says he was talking with Jerry Lawler about bringing in Tony Clifton as possibly fighting Jerry Lawler and or being a commentator. And he really wanted to get Andy Kaufman into the WWE Hall of Fame. So I'm taking that in there, and I'm making the video as if it's from the future, as if it already happened. And so it's going
to... You're killing me. You know what you're doing right now? You're angering the Andy gods. You're giving away his spot. For your sake on this show, sir, give away no more. I agree 100% though with you. And of course there's a problem with this call, as Skype has informed me, and once again Curt is missing. Bill Carton is
that is weird.
Because here's the thing, that would be the definitive way for Andy to go in the Hall of Fame. Have Tony Clifton have something of a how did Bret Hart call it? A
schmoz?
Yeah, schnoz.
Schmoz, yeah.
Schmoz.
Schmoz.
And of course, Curt is with us. I'm going to curse you out, Curt, because Andy's angry with us. You're giving away the definitive WrestleMania 30th anniversary of Andy. You're giving it all away. Andy's very angry with us.
I know. You're so right, dude. I'm giving away too much of this stuff, and I shouldn't be doing this right now, but I figured we're within a safe community right here. Well, of course, in the rest of the world who are listening to this. And this is all archived in the future. Think about this. Our future selves, our future now. So like right now in the very future. This is all just a memory in our minds. How cool is that? We're all high-fiving each other in person. We're doing a live broadcast of Andy's Army podcast number, 8. And Mark's on Commentary podcast number, 49.
49.
One of the marks.
We're at 42. We're not going to do that many more.
Well, here's the thing. I'm going with Jason as more of the Bill and Ted route.
Yes.
We show up in the phone booth.
Yes, please.
And we do more of the, Eddie, don't forget to set your clock.
Dude, absolutely.
And of course, I forget to set my clock. So when that day comes.
Well, and then the trash can falls out on someone's head, right? If a trash can falls.
Jason can vouch. That'll be one of our fiancés. It'll land on one of their heads, unfortunately.
Wah, wah. Wah, wah, wah. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I got a sound effect for that. Hold on. Here it is.
And it cuts out on Bob.
And Bob is on road with his sound effect machine.
Yes.
He is.
Yes.
He is now the Sarah Palin of podcasting.
Yes.
I can see civilization from my house. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Uncle Bob Pegany, the Sarah Palin of podcasting.
Yes. That was my disc jockey name. I hated it, but I was stuck with it.
You should have got
Uncle Bob, the Sarah Palin of disc jockeys.
No, just Uncle Bob. That was pathetic enough.
Uncle Bob's great. It's like something that's good for yours.
You should.
I thought it was.
You should have gone with Lumberjack Jess. Just saying, playing up this whole Full House thing. You should have gone Lumberjack Jess, or perhaps Ranger Bob.
Because I was I was like a heel disc jockey. I pissed people off. I was kind of what I went for. I was trying to be the anti-disc jockey back then.
So Bob, did that just fell in flawlessly with you being a manager for wrestling, right?
I was the disc jockey first, and then that was in '84, right around when Andy died, and then a little ways into it, just by accident, and everything in my life happens by accident. There was a wrestler came in to be interviewed on our AM station, down. Was going back and forth doing the news. I said, well, tell him to come on down. And he came on down, and his name was Don Drake, DC Mad Dog Drake, and we just hit it off. We just started doing stuff, and we ended up in People magazine. So I guess that wasn't too bad. So
Dude, so Bob, this is so funny. This is a wonderful tidbit to know. I'm learning so much about you. Okay, so this whole time that I've seen you quoted as Uncle Bob, this whole time you have despised that name?
I thought it was stupid. It was just dumb. It was like something out of the 50s, They called me that at my first radio station, and it just stuck, and I couldn't get rid of it.
Kurt, may I address the fact that you just went full Massachusetts on Bob? He was Uncle Bob.
It's my Chicagan coming out.
Well, clearly Chicago is Boston Part 2 or vice versa. Because
Boston 2.0. Welcome to Chicago, Illinois, Boston 2.0.
It's essentially Uncle Bob. Now, I have an Uncle Bob.
I have one too, and I used to have two of them.
Well,
oh my God.
The thing about my Uncle Bob was he was a priest, and my aunt ran off with the priest before I was born. So I was technically born into heresy.
Amazing.
It could have been worse. It could have been a little boy he ran off with or something. So, count your lucky stars there, man.
Hey, listen, Uncle Bob.
That's just hearsay. Oh, I see. They've gone rogue without us here on Andy's Army. Our co-host.
How do I edit this show? How do I do it? Jason, they're laughing at us, Jason. This is like Carrie. This is like Carrie living in full living color. They're laughing at us, Jason. I don't know who sighed first, Jason or Bob.
I did. It was me.
Of course, it was you, Uncle Bob.
Yeah, Uncle Bob. God. Yeah, if you look up on Google. Look me up on Google and read all the crap I did when I was a disc jockey. God.
I was in radio, and I can tell you it was nothing but minimum wage and disappointment.
So you've been in it since like the 90s.
Oh, God. I came into the latter half of the 2000s where I thought it was still promising and worth the $14,000 I paid in broadcasting school.
Yeah, no. Did you do voice tracking? Were you a voice tracker?
I did it occasionally. I was the board op / bitch. I did everyone's work and got no credit for it at $10 an hour.
Yep. People don't realize that. It's so I go out of my way to explain that to people just so they'll hate the business. So, that guy you listen to on whatever station, he almost certainly wasn't there when you were listening, and you'll notice he never tells you the time, he never mentions the weather, he never talks about if there's a big accident on a local highway because he recorded it 3 days ago. And people are like, really? I said, and by the way, he's part-time and he makes $8 or $10 an hour.
That was by far the most disillusioning part of radio to me, was watching a guy record a show on Thursday that was supposed to be live on Sunday.
Our guests have gone rogue yet once again. Our guests have gone rogue once again.
He's serenading us.
Yeah.
The thing that's excellent about...
Oh my gosh, you heard me! Good! You guys disappear! I just gotta say, every time you guys disappear, I sing a song.
Jason, you gotta work on that. He's got songs for his podcast. What do we have?
So
we've got t-shirts.
Well, perfect. Yeah, we got sound effects and theme songs.
We've got t-shirts, damn it.
Dude, you do. You got some great... I'm so happy you got a barcode on there, which is awesome. Such a great idea.
I went for the t-shirt.
We should record Uncle Bob with his sound effects from t-shirts.
Oh my God.
I'm so mad at myself. I was sitting here looking right at this stupid sound thing for like the first 20 minutes and never thought to pick it up and use it.
Dude, I'm so glad that you found it now. You really never stop using it because it's
Oh.
you carry it over in your daily dialogue. You're like, yeah, I'll have the grilled cheese sandwich.
Right.
This is the point on Marks and Commentary where I leave Curt and Bob alone for Curt to serenade Bob. And his
Hold on.
ode
There you
to
go.
Bob.
Oh, that's good.
You know,
That's perfect.
unless you have the Price is Right losing horn on there, this has all been for nothing.
Close enough.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Close enough for jazz.
Oh, that's perfect.
Before we wrap up tonight's show with Curt and Bob,
Why do we have to wrap it up? Why don't we talk another 4 hours, then we chop it up into like a trilogy over the course of like a month?
Director's cut.
Yes.
directed by Francis Ford Coppola.
Yes. Absolutely.
This is Marks on Commentary Redo by Francis Ford Coppola.
Redo a la mode.
Redo, or Part 2. This is Marks on Commentary Part 2. Jason is here, Curt is here, Bob is here. Now, if we're going to get Andy into the Hall of Fame this year, what else can we do to prove that Andy over, let's say, Drew Carey or, Pete Rose should be in there more deservingly?
March on Titan Tower. That's what I'd love to see.
With Bob's sound effects machine.
That's right. Everybody should have one, and we just we hold up fingers
That's
to say
right.
which thing they hit.
Absolutely.
We all hit them at once.
Go enlist
Well, it'd be
hijack
like-
raw
it's like-
people.
It'll be like a Trojan horse kind of thing. So it's like you got people inside of the building, so it's all synchronized. At a certain time, everyone hits that laugh button, or the woo, woo, woo,
Now, can our
Right.
Trojan horse be in the form of Tony Clifton?
Yeah, they should. They should all be. That would be beautiful. And then, it could be just like the thing where they wrecked Triple H's office, and where he should have been mad, and he acted like he couldn't care less. And then a week later, they acted like it never happened. That great continuity that Vince has.
With that hammer that he uses and has yet to kill a man with.
Right. That thing would easily crack any skull on Earth, and yet somehow doesn't.
Triple H has used a sledgehammer his whole career, has 0 victims, has yet to kill one man with it.
Smash.
Yep.
So, with that being said, this has been a very entertaining, Inception-like podcast with both.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
I feel like
Ladies and gentlemen, the invisible organist, ladies and gentlemen.
I feel like I should go more the 1960s Batman route. This has been Marks on Commentary. You can get just same Marks time, same Marks channel.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Bob, do you have a Batman theme song on there after he says that?
No, I'm looking at him. What's this one? I forget what this one is. Let me see. Oh, that's that. Okay. Because that just has a little musical note. It doesn't have a name.
I'm going to end with that. I was looking for either the Godfather theme or perhaps dropping the call again. But either way, that's a fitting finale, and we lost Curt again.
Hold on. The glass breaking.
Well, Bob, before we let you go, is there any final thoughts on the show with us?
Gee, something went through my head. Now it's gone. It went right through the skull. I had something there. I appreciate you guys having us on. I want to just ask everybody to do anything they can think of that could boost this little thing we've got going here to get Andy into the Hall of Fame. We only have a couple of weeks left.
Absolutely.
Call them, fax them, write them, hashtags, on Facebook, yell at them, whatever you got to do. Throw rocks at Titan Tower. Let's make this happen.
Storm Titan Tower as Tony Clifton. Tony Clifton flash mob, if you will.
That would be beautiful. That would be beautiful.
I would love to get wrestling fans behind that, but as I learned with Jason at TNA Slammiversary, they are too lazy. They smell really bad, and frankly, most of them get off their couches. With the exception of Curt, who has been in and out this whole show. I'm so sorry, Curt.
Uh-oh!
And apparently the apology is not good enough for Curt because he's still not here.
Poor boy.
Bob, it's been a tremendous honor talking to you. I appreciate you being on the show. Thank you so much.
Oh, no problem. Anytime. And with that, I will simply say.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Uncle Joey of Marks on Commentary, Mr. Bob. Mr. Bob.
So, you guys, I have an actual snail mail address that people can write letters to.
Oh, please do.
Pitch it.
It's the WWE corporate headquarters. Attention, Vince McMahon, 1241 East Main Street, Stamford. That is STAM, M as in monkey, F as in Franklin, ORD as in dragon. So that's Stamford, CT, Connecticut, at 06902. That is the snail mail address, and you let them know. You let them letter and just say, look, we need to see Andy Kaufman inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. And what will happen is pretty soon, and Bob, I was talking to you about this. I'm going to make a flyer, something that can be fit on just a regular printout page. So you
Andy's gone.
Oh my God. Well, ladies and gentlemen.
Got a flyer.
He's got a flyer. This has been Marks on Commentary. I'm Eddie Brophy.
Are we done?
I think with all the bad juju that Curt keeps bringing to the show, we're done.
I just feel like we should let him say goodbye.
I'm sure we'll get him back. Bob, thank you so much.
Oh, good.
Chris,
hey,
say
everybody, it's Andy Kaufman. Hey, everybody, it's Andy Kaufman. He's here. Spirit is here. You cannot deny it. You cannot deny it. And in those parting words, you cannot deny it. It's Andy Kaufman's spirit. You cannot deny it. There you go.
If this weren't a podcast, I would see bras and panties thrown Curt's way.
See that? And I'm twirling a few on the end of the uke as well. So that's even crazier because I am playing the uke behind my head. So I'm playing the uke. It's just
know whose panties are twirling behind his head, but for Marks on Commentary, I'm Eddie Brophy.
I'm Jason Smith.
And Curt, Bob.
Oh yes, also yes, please tweet WWE. Please tweet WWE Universe with the ridiculously long hashtag AK4, the number 4, WWE HOF 2014. And just remember, folks, in the future now, we have all done this together. And Andy Kaufman is indeed inducted into the 2014 WWE Hall of Fame.
Where can people find you guys?
Yes!
Online.
Yes!
Now, it's fun. How can we find you guys online in terms of Twitter? Do you guys both have Twitter accounts?
I got a secret one that's like because I'm doing something on Twitter. I'm trying to irritate people on Twitter. But there's a clip of me as a wrestling manager that you can find. If you use, let's say, keyword, not on Twitter, on YouTube, NWF, and put in Mr. Anthony. That was a wrestler that I worked with, and it should be the first one that pops up, and it's pretty funny.
Yes. Also keep your eyes peeled for the Slycraft Hour, which is hilarious, and it shows. Look under Bob Pegany's Slycraft Hour. Which Bob has not told you the full magical moment yet, but if you search out there in other podcasts, you'll hear the whole story. Now, unless of course Marks on Commentary, you want to make this a 4-hour podcast, because it's a phenomenal story. It really is.
Well, on that note,
bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you so much for doing the show with us, guys.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Oh,
thanks for having us.
All right. Have a good one, guys.
never hangs around.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
Hey, wrestling fans and freaks alike. I am the Information Highway's last living outlaw. My name is the Masked Tweeter. I hail from parts unknown. I am here today to deliver to you breaking news that's going to put you in a headlock. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Stop the presses. Get the president on the horn. This is a big one, folks. I am joining forces with Andy's Army.
Andy's Army.
To get Andy Kaufman the 2014 WWE Hall of Fame Induction Award. Think about it. You, me, the rest of Andy's Army. Together we can collaborate and make this happen, folks. I don't have to tell you, how cool would it be to play a small part in getting the legendary comedian Andy Kaufman inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame Class of 2014. Wherever you visit online, I want you to hashtag AK4WWEHOF 2014. Let me say it again. Hashtag AK4WWEHOF 2014. Wherever you go, Facebook, Twitter, I want you to hashtag it. I want you to tell your friends. I want you to tell your family. I want you to stop people on the street, people you don't even know. And I want you to say, hey, let's put Andy Kaufman in the WWE Hall of Fame Class of 2014. I know you can do it. Remember, hashtag AK4WWEHOF 2014. And don't forget to visit me on Twitter at MaskTweeterX.